You know what it is? It's the mob and Gerald. And
Hey,
what we're gonna do right off the bat is just start with our top five favorite movies, and we're gonna do top 10 as opposed to five, what we were traditionally doing in the other episodes. So we're gonna do 10 through six right now. Do you want to start, Gerald?
yeah, sure. So number 10 for me, probably be End of Days. It was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie back in 1999, but it was a really good freaking movie. I like that one because it had a different concept of like, well, I guess like the end times and like the prophecies that would happen.
So it's biblical.
Yeah, it's more biblical, but the dude who played the devil in that movie was so freaking good. Gabriel Bryan, I believe was how you pronounce his last name, but damn, he did a good job. And it was just so sinister and creepy. Like the way he just manipulated people, and then like I don't know, the way the soundtrack too was good. It's one of those things that just blends so well. Movie soundtrack and just the story was badass.
So was Schwarzenegger trying to fight off the end of the world, or what was the premise?
So what ends up happening, like, so Schwarzenegger plays a bodyguard, and he's hired to pretty much guard this banker, like be a bodyguard for his banker. And a priest tries to assassinate the banker and shoots Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had a vest on. Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, he used to be a cop. He lost his family due to some court case and shit. Like the guys who were, like, he was testifying, I think, against the mob or somebody,
Hmm.
and they ended up assassinating his family,
Oh,
murdering him, or somebody broke into his house and killed his kid and his wife. So like through like all these weird circumstances, he ends up like finding out that the dude he's protecting is actually the devil,
hmm. So it's
and
kind of like the
it's
Punisher story. Instead of going
yeah,
after the
kind
people
of
that killed
it's
his family,
crazy.
is like, fuck that. I'm gonna, oops, I'll bleep that out. I'll just
Yeah.
go after the whole devil instead of the guys that killed my family.
Well, he ends up like finding this girl. She was born to be the person the devil has sex with to bring forth the Antichrist.
Hmm.
She's having visions and everything, and just by doing this investigation, he finds out that it was a priest who tried to shoot the banker. Then, like deep diving, they find out like they know all this prophecy. The priest was talking to him when he shot him, or when he ended up tracking down the priest, was talking to him, telling him about like this prophecy that's being foretold, and he was trying to stop the end of days. And when they go like to get the dude, the priest has his tongue cut out. Cut out his own tongue, so there's no way he could be talking.
Hmm.
But like because he did all this stuff, they ended up like investigating. And he's not supposed to investigate. He was just security. But because of his history with like the police and everything, he used to be a detective. He finds out that this girl's involved, and people are trying to kill this girl from the church. They're like from a certain sect of the church, essentially like almost like the Knights Templar in a way, but they're trying
Okay.
to kill the woman who is going to bear the Antichrist before the devil gets to her. So it just turns into this whole entire like game of cat and mouse in a way. Like he's like in the middle of it, so he ends up getting in the devil's way to actually pick up this girl. And
Okay.
it's a pretty good movie. If you get a chance to watch, I highly recommend it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, well, for sure. My number 10 is Pet Cemetery 2.
Nice.
I'm sure you've seen that one. It's with
Yeah.
Edward Furlong and Clancy Brown. And the thing that I like most about it is Clancy Brown. He plays Gus in the movie. He's the sheriff, and he seems like an okay guy in the beginning, like he's real personable and all that. But he turns so evil in the movie, and he's one of the best. I think villains in movies is one of my favorite movies. Is Bad Boys from 1983, I believe it is, with Sean Penn. He's in that movie. He's in a character called Viking. He's also in Highlander, where he's the Krugen. Is that what it is? In that movie, and
Yeah, I believe so.
he plays such good villains. And if he's the type of guy to typecast for villains, he's like the best ever. And for him to go in and play Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob is pretty hilarious. All the hard asses he plays, having the dog come back, Zowie, that came back to life and protected him. It wasn't after Edward Furlong's character because it was his friend's dog. I can't remember off the top of my head what his name was, but he protected him instead of trying to kill him like the traditional old Pet Cemetery. but at the end he gets so crazy and digs up his mom. There's just a nice weird element to it. It's
Yeah,
you know,
it's one of those ones that brings you back to the old stories, like the monkey's paw, or like even like if you look back at like the old like genie in the lamp stories, like yeah, you'll get your wishes, but they're not going to be what you expect.
mhm,
This can be a bad turn to them. That's why I kind of like Pet Cemetery too. Like yeah, it brings back your animals and stuff or your loved ones, but they're not what they seem to be. They're evil, you know.
mhm. And that would be something that I would be terrified of if a guy like Gus was coming after me. He's like, oh shit, Gus is coming.
Yeah.
I think that's the best element to it is Clancy Brown's Gus character. What's your number nine?
Number nine for me was The Possession with Jeffrey D. Morgan, and that one was fairly recent. Well, I guess not recent. It was probably more like 2010, somewhere around there. I have to look. But what was cool about that movie is it kind of dives into your like or more like our paranormal investigations or our paranormal research stuff and all that, where it also makes you scared to freaking buy anything that's used,
Hmm.
like from yard sales and everything, because it could
Yeah.
turn to be something like this. So it's about a Dybbuk box. So the family goes to a yard sale, buys a box. Turns out to be a Dybbuk box. The little girl really likes it. They open it, and then they start finding weird stuff in there, like locks of hair, fingernails,
Hmm.
stuff that looks like it's from World War II. And then the little girl ends up being like getting possessed. And the guy's a single father, so he's having to deal with this. These two little girls, and one of them's possessed by a demon. So he has to go through this whole entire deal of finding out, like, well, shit, it's not gonna help to get a Catholic priest because it's not a Catholic thing. They
Yeah.
have to find a rabbi, and then the rabbi tells them what it is, and it's a Dybbuk box, and this thing's holding evil. It's holding a
Hmm.
demon.
And
So
that's essentially why they locked it up because they were trying to keep something in there. Is that correct?
yeah, that's correct. And like I said, it's really cool because it's loosely based off of a real story. If you look up the
Hmm.
Dybbuk box, and I think you brought that up a couple podcasts ago, didn't you?
Yeah. Paranormal
The Dybbuk
Witness.
box
It's
story.
season two, I believe. The Dybbuk
Yeah.
box.
So it's really cool because it actually kind of brings it more to the forefront and you're watching a movie about it. Now, mind you,
Mm.
it's a movie, so they
Exaggerated a
take
little
some
bit.
liberties, but
Yeah.
it was good. And like I said, it just makes you kind of eerie about oh shit, I'm not gonna buy mirrors anymore from like a yard sale. I'm not gonna buy weird boxes that are old. You know,
Hmm.
probably leave those alone. Just leave them be.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good reason if people want to know why we don't buy old stuff. It's because
Yeah,
of stuff like that. And it's true, especially mirrors. Don't buy old
yeah,
mirrors because it's used as a portal. Oh, I kind of fought with number nine. I don't know why. Um, so I chose John dies at the end. I'll give you a
John dies
chance
at the
to
end.
look that up.
I,
And I'll just give a vague description because you haven't seen it and you should watch it. That also has Clancy Brown, but he's a good guy in that movie. Has Paul Giamatti, and it's kind of uh, I don't know how to say it, but he meets Dave in the cafe and he wants to talk about some of the stuff that he's experienced because it's outrageous. And the way that the intro goes, he talks about if the dead come back and he's talking about his hammer or his axe, I'm sorry, if he's posing a question that he killed the original zombie that came to his door with the axe, and then first the handle broke, and then the zombie came back to life, the dead man came back to life, he broke the head of the blade, and then he got basically a whole new axe, and he posed the question, is that the same axe that he killed the zombie with? Because it's all
hmm.
has a new handle and but that's how it started off. But that's essentially what they're doing. There's a creature that's trying to take over the world, among other things, and it's ultra fantastic and dark, and it's and funny also. So, and I just don't want to go into it to spoil it for you, but
Yeah,
just
I'm checking out the actors in it. It looks really freaking good. Like it's
oh,
showing me a trailer right now on my iPad, but it's muted. It
okay,
looks.
It's just really dark and it's just something up my alley. It's goofy. It's kind of like Evil Dead in a sense. Like,
Yeah, I just saw Bubba Hotep on here, so I
yeah.
could see how it'd be
So that's
closely
something in relation,
based.
and I'm sure people will hate me for it. And that's what I was gonna say when we were talking off cameras. Like, people are gonna hate our lists and they're gonna say, "Oh, there's so much better stuff," but this is what we like, and
Yeah, it's what we like though. It's just
that's
because there's so much better stuff out there. Yeah, we understand there's better stuff, but
yeah, and
it's the
that's
kind of
what we
stuff
were
we
talking
like.
about previously is like people have foreknowledge of other movies, and I'm sure there's other great movies we haven't seen, and it's just what we know and what we like. And like I'm saying, like I like the filler stuff more than the dark filler stuff, rather than ooh, this movie's fantastic, you know. So
Yeah.
it's different for everybody. What's your number eight?
So number 8 for me, because I just changed it because it kind of makes me laugh with what you just said for number 9 for yours.
Hmm.
And it is like it is true to that extent. It's what we like. It doesn't matter what other people think is good. But like Shaun of the Dead, I'm gonna put that at number 8 for me.
Yeah,
Because Shaun of the Dead was just a good fucking movie.
it
Like
is.
it's just funny. It has its beats. It's good. I love the fact that they're just going to a pub and that's always where they go, the
Uh-huh.
Winchester.
Winchester. Yeah.
But it just like takes all the tropes of zombie movies and like kind of makes fun of it. But
Hmm.
it was a good freaking movie.
It's more of a sense if actual people experiences zombie apocalypse. I think that's more what it was akin to me.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
I mean,
funny
going through the
towards the
same routine you go through every freaking morning, and then there's zombies around you,
yeah,
and you
and
just
he's
ignore
he's
it.
just
Just go, I'm
oblivious
just
to it because you're so used
yeah,
to doing the same shit.
yeah. You just
And
see the same weird stuff. It's like, oh shit, there's zombies here.
I thought it was funny towards the end of the movie because they're trying to reach the Winchester for whatever reason they think that's the safest place to go. And they run into a group, what used to be Sean's ex-girlfriend, and she has the exact opposite friends, just gender swapped
Yeah.
for her. That's pretty funny.
Well, wasn't it like actually the same? Like she had the same friends, but they're just gender swapped. So
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all walking by each other, and it's the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah, that was funny.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's such a good movie.
yeah.
But in the series of three, is that your favorite?
Hmm.
The Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and
Oh,
the
and
World's End.
I've only seen Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. I never did see the other one.
I love World's End so much.
World's End, I gotta check out, but
Yeah,
I've never seen
my
that one.
favorite. It's so good.
Nice. But yeah, out of the two that I have seen, I like Hot Fuzz. It's funny as fuck. But Shaun of the Dead was just funny for like this list here for sure because of the zombie thing, and then it just made me laugh. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. My number eight is Ed Wood with Johnny Depp. Have you
Edward
seen that
Scissorhand
one?
or Edward?
What's that?
Edward Scissorhand or is it just
No,
Edward?
Ed Wood. Yeah. Ed
Edward.
Wood. So what it was, he's an old director, a film director. It documents his life. So it talks about his struggles of trying to get his crappy movies made. And that's what Wood was, is he was the worst movie director ever. He's renowned for it. And that's basically what the story is about. And it also has, I want to get you a list of actors: Johnny Depp, Martin Landau, Bill Murray, Sarah Jessica Parker, Lisa Marie. She's in traditional Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Yeah. So she's
Then
traditionally in a bunch of Johnny Depp movies. Patricia Arquette, Jeffrey Jones, that creep. If you know who
yeah,
Jeffrey Jones
yeah.
is.
Jeffrey Jones. I just saw it on here. Yeah, that creep. Which,
And that's
yeah,
what it follows is just his life. So it starts off the beginning where he's in a relationship with Dolores, which is Sarah Jessica Parker, and he goes through the struggles of trying to get the film made. And she finally realizes what she's taken part of. Like she gets upset and says, "You guys are just making shit." And she finally learns that he's a transvestite and he dresses as a woman and all this. And that's a big element to the story. And then he meets Patricia Arquette's character and she's really accepting of what she does or he does, dress as a woman and all that. She's cool with it. And the performance by Martin Landau as Bela Lugosi is just great if you've seen the
nice.
movie. You've never seen it before?
I've never seen this movie before. I'll
Oh
check it
man,
out.
we need to end this right now so you could go watch it. It's so good. His performance as Bela Lugosi is just great, and it's so good when it transitions to him dying in the movie. It's kind of like a downturn, but there isn't, if that makes sense. Kind of like The Sandlot, where The Sandlot gets to a point where they're done throwing up at the carnival.
Mm.
It's such a downturn for me. Like after that, where he hits the ball over the fence and they start trying to get the ball and all that. It's like the greatest movie ever, and then it's like it's such a downer. I don't know, but it's not equivalent to that, but it's kind of the same thing because he has such a good performance. I'm just, making it akin to that. That it's
Nice.
still good, but you definitely need to watch it. I'll say no more. What's your
Yeah.
number? We're on number 8, right? Or are you on number
We're on number
7?
7.
Okay.
So I would say for 7 be kind of like the Conjuring series in a way, but the Conjuring one was really good. I really liked that one. What I liked about it too was it was done really well, and I just like the stories of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I know like there's people out there who just think they're all full of shit.
Hmm.
South Park demonologist and his wife who's a medium, but everything about like their stories were just really compelling to me. I like the whole entire fact they had a museum. In fact, that's kind of what I want to do when I get a house is start not really like well maybe collecting, but having stuff like that where like you look and like you'll see something under under a glass jar and it'll actually be something from like either from folklore or it'll be something from a story. So I like the Hellraiser puzzle box. The
Yeah.
Lament configuration will be in a box or it'll be in like a jar with a little description on it, like a museum. So I like the
Hmm.
fact that like Ed and Lorraine Warren actually had that, and
They
you
were
can go to
originally
a
on Sightings, the show Sightings, weren't they?
yeah, that was
Mm.
a big one too. They were on sightings a lot, but it's kind of neat to hear their stories and then to see them so well done because Lorraine Warren was involved with the Conjuring movies and helped them, like with them. I thought they did really well.
Yeah.
And for the first one to be like their first case, that really wasn't. So it really wasn't like I guess solved or resolved. I guess what I would say that case
Hmm.
actually wasn't resolved in that farmhouse, and those people I think just ended up moving out. Finally, they finally ended up leaving, but it really wasn't resolved, and it was kind of cool to see that like in the movie. It's just a jacked up story and everything. But I like how it builds the tension on and keeps going, where they keep seeing these other entities that keep kind of popping up. So like the nun, you know, the only thing I didn't like was the whole entire Annabelle thing. I mean, yeah, they had an Annabelle doll, but instead of keeping it like the original Annabelle was, that little Raggedy Ann doll,
Hmm.
which I guess isn't that creepy.
I think it is
Some people it
creepy
is.
that if it was something so humble or, nice, I think that would make it even more creepier.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that they made some porcelain doll with a creepy face. I was like, come on,
Yeah.
you could have just used a Raggedy Ann and it would have the same effect, if
Mm.
not better, because that is creepy to have
It
something
would be
so
something so
inconspicuous to be so
unassuming.
evil. Yeah.
Hmm.
And what's funny is I don't know if you've driven downtown lately, but one of the antique shops downtown, I think it's on B Street or C. No, it's on B Street. I think it's on C or D. They have a Raggedy Ann in the window.
I was there last weekend and I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's cool. You drive by, and I think it's across the street from. I think
Is
it's
that the one
Irby's.
with
Is
the
that?
cats?
Yeah, the one with the cats.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, check it out next time we drive downtown. If you're down that way, just happen
Okay.
to look in the window. There's a Raggedy Ann there, and I almost want to buy that just to have it, just because.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I want to do the same thing here. So I want to get like a monkey's paw and put it in a case. Put little things saying "Do not wish on paw." you know,
Mhm. Yeah,
I
that
want
would
to get
be
a
pretty neat.
I want to get a top hat and sew in the runes for Baron Samedi,
Hmm.
and then put a cigar and a little rum there, and just explain who Baron Samedi is and all
If
that.
you really wanted something real, I could locate a clown doll that moves by itself. I'm not even kidding.
No shit.
It's the scariest shit you'll ever see. And I'm not afraid of clowns, but that thing is, it just doesn't feel right.
I don't know if I want you to pawn off your creepy clown that moves on me.
Yeah. No, it's not the greatest thing. It's really, you feel your energy low when you're around it.
Oh, that's crazy. See,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Hmm.
They talk about stuff like that. So it's a vessel of some sort for sure.
Hmm. But you could sit there and you could watch it move. It's my cousin's clown doll.
Oh, that's creepy.
Hmm. And she won't get rid of it.
Well, that's a good thing, maybe.
Yeah, you would have to destroy it, but you wouldn't be able, no one else should have that thing. But I'm saying I bet she would be willing to give it up if you had like intentions with it to put it under glass and just keep it like that.
Display.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do in another house when I have more space. Just put that, or even like in my study, just have the weird stuff like that,
Yeah,
like things from folklore, and then just stuff that's just creepy.
that'd be cool. That's a good idea. My number seven is Halloween 3. And with
Uh,
that, so the only other Halloween that I've seen besides that is like I told you with Jess, the Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie movie. I
yeah,
don't know why I've never ventured into that. I've never been interested like that. Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Night Before, or I'm sorry,
Nightmare on Elm
Elm
Street.
Street. I've never watched any of those except for the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and I stopped watching that because Freddy is a child molester, and
Yeah,
people
it's
never point that out. Like he's doing sex stuff with underage kids. It's I saw that and I was like, nah, I'm good off that. So anyway, getting back to Halloween 3, have you seen it?
it's been a long time, and
Hmm.
I can't remember a lot of it, but I know what you're talking about with the masks and everything.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It starts off with his name is Dr. Chalice. He's kind of at odds with his wife because he's not home all the time with the kids. He has stuff going on at the hospital, and that's how the movie starts, is that one of the robots, and you don't know that it's a robot yet, goes and kills a guy in the hospital, and he crushes his skull and then goes outside to his car and lights himself on fire. And they discover that he has like mechanical parts. That's the only thing that was left over.
Hmm.
That leads him to meet the daughter of the guy that was killed. And they're good, but it's a town, like a fake town in California. They go there and they discover people are robots. And the guy that is making everything happen, Cochran, is making the mask, and they discover that with evil intentions. They plan on killing all the kids, and there's a charm on the back of the mask, and it has a piece of the rock from Stonehenge because he stole one of the stones from Stonehenge. And when he plays that commercial because they have a giveaway going on, and he plans to play the commercial, and kids see it everywhere, and every kid has masks. That's the general basis of the film. That's why they're going to find, because, and that's what I forgot to mention, her dad was buying the mask for his store, and he was sold out, and he discovered something that was going on there, and they discovered the same thing. So he plans to use the mask in order to kill the child population, just something evil. I think that was pretty original because everybody hates that movie. Like back in the day, no one liked it. Every horror enthusiast that I came across, they were like, "Oh, you like Halloween 3?" I was like, "Yeah, this movie's pretty cool." But now it's kind of gotten some tread and people like it. And
I'm
all of a
wondering if
sudden,
this. Sorry to interrupt you.
no, it's good.
I'm wondering if Halloween 3 isn't really part of the Halloween series, like the Michael Myers series.
It is.
Now we're looking at it. Is
Yeah,
is
this
it? Because it says
It's
Halloween
the
3
third one.
Season of the Witch.
Hmm. So
And was
they
that
were
the one you're
trying to
talking about?
do Yeah, they were trying to do an offshoot and make different stories besides Michael Myers. And
Okay, so I see that.
Halloween
Okay,
3
nice.
bombed so bad they stopped doing it. But
Okay.
he appears in the movie. So the doctor is sitting at the bar and he's watching a TV where it shows Michael Myers appear on the TV. So it's kind of parallel to show you that you're still in the same
You're still in
universe
the same
as such.
universe.
Yeah, but yeah, it's that's what it is. It's was supposed to be an offshoot, and it was going to be like a different story from three to four on, but
Okay.
it failed so bad that I don't know. I like it because the robot element and just the robots, everyone turned into robots, and at the end of the movie, something happens too, and it's so good to me. It's so dark. That's why I like it. It's if it has a dark feeling, it's up my alley. Pause.
I think I would probably enjoy this a lot more than the Halloween movies with Michael Myers.
Yeah, and you never
I'm
seen it, or you just can't remember if you did.
I've never seen that one, so I've seen Halloween 3, the actual Halloween 3, not the Halloween 3 season of the witch.
Oh, okay.
So that's why when I looked, I saw there was two. I was like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
And I
this one is
remember there
from
was one.
1982.
Oh, okay, so Halloween 3 on this one was they did it in 2001.
Oh, okay. No, no,
So
it's
they did
not
a
the same.
remake or something. But yeah, I remember the masks, I remember the creepiness of it, but
Hmm.
yeah, it wasn't what I was thinking, so that's interesting. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm kind of with you with those. Like I don't know, I've never really been into any of the slasher movies. So
Hmm.
like Jason, Freddy Krueger,
Like even
Halloween, they're kind of
Scream, like
Scream. Yeah,
mm,
they're just yeah.
they just
It's the
don't do
same.
anything for me.
It's the same story over and over again. You
It
know.
is. If it was something original, I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
I'm not interested. I don't think I'll ever watch them.
it's tough to fucking watch them. Like
Hmm.
like the only Freddy Krueger movie I liked was Dream Warriors,
Okay.
and that was pretty cool because like they actually found a way to fight them.
Oh, okay. And he didn't
Yeah,
sexually harm any kids in it.
I don't think so, but it was still pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sure it
There's some
was.
fucked up deaths.
You're number six?
Yeah, we'll be on my number
Okay.
six. Hollow Man, Kevin Bacon. Have you
Okay.
ever seen that one?
I haven't.
Oh, that was a good one. So it kind of brings you back to the old school, like the Invisible Man and all
Mhm.
that.
Is that what it's based on?
I'm pretty sure it is. What it is, so Kevin Bacon's a scientist and they're working in a lab underground, and they're creating this serum to make you invisible essentially, and then bring you back. While he's losing funding, so what he ends up doing is injecting it in himself as the test subject, and he turns himself invisible, and it just fucks with him psychologically because he can't leave the freaking place. They can't figure out a cure for it, and I think it just breaks his brain because like one of the people that he, I think it's like his girlfriend or something, or one of his colleagues, he's like infatuated with her, and then finds out like she doesn't really like him, like somebody else, and he starts following her by leaving the lab and like just watching her like a creep, you know. And then he starts like doing like weird shit, and like it comes to the point where like he can't even sleep because his eyelids are see through.
Hmm.
So like he has to wear like a mask or something just to sleep because he can't close his eyes. He still sees through them. But it's pretty cool. It was a good movie. It was real suspenseful, and Kevin Bacon plays a pretty good bad guy.
Oh, so he was, so it's kind of like Invisible Man if he's a bad
Hmm.
guy.
Yeah.
But what was I going to ask? Yeah, I mean, if me and you were able to become invisible and like it wasn't, I don't know how it would affect you if under the same scenario, but I think I'd just be running to banks everywhere.
Yeah. Banks. I don't know. I can do anything at that point. I just
Yeah.
sneak into movies, watch movies I want to watch,
Yeah.
drive cars I want to drive,
Yeah.
freak people out.
You know, no one's driving.
Yeah, just take a car and drive it just to
Hmm.
fuck with people.
Yeah, I
That'd be
guess
fun.
there's better uses besides robbing banks with your invisible powers.
The only problem is I don't know if I'd want to wander around naked all the time because my
Yeah,
clothes aren't going to be invisible. So,
I mean, would you be able to see yourself? I don't think it would matter by then.
well, you wouldn't, but just imagine having to wander around naked all the time, no shoes,
Oh, I got
dick
you.
just
So
flapping around.
you'd still have the same sensation and everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be weird. It
I was like,
would
oh,
be.
this sucks.
Yeah, it
It's
would
freaking
be.
cold.
Because if you got wet or something on you, it would still be noticeable.
Yeah, you'd still be noticed if someone like threw water on you. So that's kind of like how they find them too. Like one time they throw well, there's this area there in a freezer with blood packs, and she grabs blood and just throws it all over the room and
Hmm.
hits him with the blood pack. So like it gets him. Then
Yeah.
there's another scene in there like where he gets lit on fire, and like it's kind of crazy. You see like the skin like get toasted, and then it flake off,
Mm.
and it kind of leaves you in a cliffhanger. It's kind of cool because you don't know if he died or not.
There wasn't a part two or anything.
Oh no, there wasn't. There was another one though that came out with fairly, well, I'd say fairly recent. It's probably been about 5 or 6 years. That was another. It seemed like a sequel to it or like a
Okay.
remake of it, but it wasn't Hollow Man. It was something else, and I can't remember what it was.
It's just something akin to it.
Yeah, it was. So it's like dude dies, and in his will he leaves everything to his ex-wife, but it actually turns out he didn't die, and he's
Hmm.
in the house that she ends up inheriting, and he's just like fucking with her.
Okay.
So like he's closing the doors on her and stuff and jacking things. So like she just thinks it's haunted, but
The
he's
driver
actually
crazy.
invisible. Yeah, so he's doing it on purpose to drive her crazy.
My number six. We're on number six, right?
Yeah,
Okay. The scary stories to tell in the dark.
that was
Guillermo
well
del
done.
Toro movie. And you were talking about that for your favorite books, and it just
Yeah.
escaped my mind. I totally forgot about the books and the movie. And thank you for mentioning it because I would have probably just forgot about it. And I think the weird thing about it is that I see it maybe on Amazon or whatever, and I'm like, man, that movie's so good and I want to watch it. And like I said previously, when we are talking about our books, that the movie's so well acted. I really like because usually there's sometimes where you see a newer movie and there's one character you don't like, and it's like, oh, this guy's trash for the acting. At least I am some of the time, and just the whole acting was great. Guillermo del Toro, the way he laced the stories together, is if you read the book, they're just independent stories and they don't connect. But he did the whole thing with a diary and made everything connect. So the way that he did it was just great.
Yeah, I liked those ones. That was a really good one.
Mm.
And it was a movie, wasn't it?
What's
I'm
that?
thinking of the other one he did that was a series, and it's the Cabinet of Curiosities. But yeah,
Yeah,
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was a movie.
it
That
is.
was pretty good. I do remember that.
That's
And
where
just
the Mexican guy, he goes into the town and he's dodging the draft. Do you remember that?
yeah,
And they go into the haunted house and they discover it is really is haunted because she finds a diary and she takes it, and the stories keep get written in blood, and every time that a story's written, something happens to one of her friends. So it follows based on the book, different stories. There's the walker and the toe soup or stew. There's one with the spiders in the face. There's one with the pale lady. And so one by one, something happens to her friends and she finally stops it before it gets her. But the way that it ends, it opens open end where they're trying to find their friends and they're traveling somewhere to try to find them. And if there's any movie that needs a sequel, it's that. And hopefully, Guillermo del Toro, I know it's planned and everything, but if
nice.
Guillermo del Toro doesn't direct it, I don't know if it will be
Yeah,
the
it's not
same.
going to be the same. I mean,
Won't be.
he does so well with monsters and everything, and just the
He
way he
does.
portrays them, and just the way he directs everything. It's really good.
Hmm.
I guess like he'd be like our modern day like, well, even though Tim Burton's still around, but he'd be kind of like that. And then it'd be like if Tim Burton and Tom Savini were put together to make these monster movies and stuff,
Well,
or like just the monsters.
the funny thing about him, I think he's been around since the early 90s, so it's not far off. Because I
Yeah,
don't know if you've ever seen, God, what is that movie? It's about vampire. The grandpa becomes a vampire. Kronos. So Kronos is the movie. That's one of the first, if not the first movie he's ever done, and it's a Spanish movie, obviously. That's what
yeah,
he did at the beginning of his career. And it's a dark movie. I like the premise of it, the way that the grandfather becomes a vampire. So even though it's dated, and it could have been way better, like, aesthetically. It's still a good movie. I think you would like it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. In 1992
Hmm. So I think Tim Burton's first movie was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, if I'm not mistaken.
for Tim Burton.
Hmm. I'm
You know
pretty
what?
sure that was his
Maybe.
first movie.
Um, yeah, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and then yeah, because they did the claymation. Was it
Hmm.
Large Marge?
Yeah.
The Scream. I
So
know that freaked a
everything
lot of people out.
is kind of parallel. Like that was the beginning of Beetlejuice. You know what I mean? Like the art direction.
Yeah,
So I mean, I like Pee-wee. That's one of my favorite movies. Is The Big Adventure. I don't know what you think about him or not, because he could be put in the creep category too.
yeah,
But
he'd be put in that creep category too. His voice just irked me.
oh, really?
Just yeah,
Okay.
but I've
It
seen
was.
that actor in other movies, and he did really good. Blow was one of them. I really like that movie
Oh, okay. Paul
with
Rubens.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, if you take it on the basis that he was just whacking off in a theater in an adult
in
theater
adult
by
movie theater, yeah.
himself, what are you supposed to do watching porno movies in public? I mean, that you're gonna have some creep detective sitting in the audience, like waiting for dudes to whip out their shit, and I don't know what's creepier, the detectives that do that or the people in the
Watching.
theaters. So like, come on. It's like how long was he there watching him do that to himself before he stopped him? It's like, it was like a half hour into the movie. He was almost finished, and I busted him right in the middle of it. Is I don't know what's worse. Okay, we better move on.
Yeah,
Okay, you want
that's
to talk
pretty
about
funny.
the topic you were speaking
Okay,
of with the
so
zombies?
my topic here, I kind of thought about it when we were driving around and stuff, with one of my coworkers. I was thinking, man, what kind of zombies do you think you'd be able to survive in like a zombie apocalypse type of thing, like right now as is? So like we're going with certain types of zombies here.
Hmm.
So the ones I picked out for this, and I sent you a list, was,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you consider it zombies, but I consider them zombies just because of the way they act. So you got World War Z, and those zombies sprint and like climb over each other to get to you,
Hmm.
and that one's pretty crazy. Then the fact that they don't go after people who have like terminal illnesses, so
Yeah.
that's kind of an interesting deal.
Well,
You have the
isn't
zombies.
it a thing where you're actually quiet and they won't follow you either? Or am I wrong?
Oh, I think that's a lot of them. Like with a lot of zombie movies, like so if you're quiet and you don't make
I guess
noise,
so. Yeah.
yeah, you're not gonna draw attention because they're zombies basically run off basic instincts,
Hmm.
basically to feed, run and
Yeah.
feed. Well, not run, but just feed essentially is their basic instincts. So it's the primitive brain that's taken over, supposedly.
Yeah.
So you got like those zombies that sprint, but they ignore terminal illness. So that tells me that those zombies have something in their brains that tells you, or their senses to tell you that, hey, this person has cancer or this person's not good to eat. I'm going to ignore this
Internal
thing because it's going to
mechanism.
kill me.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's a protective mechanism, which is kind of interesting. Then you got 28 days later. 28 days later, those zombies were created basically by like a super version
Rabies.
of rabies.
Hmm.
Yeah. And immediately violent. So it's like, so what was it? World War Z, those zombies turned within like how many seconds? Like 7 seconds? I can't remember how
Yeah.
long it took them.
I think it was a seven where he was counting down how long it took.
Yeah. But 28 days later, man, like a drop of blood gets in your mouth or lands in your eye and boom, you're turning like fast and you're hyper aggressive.
Hmm.
But it only lasts 28 days, hence the 28 days later.
Yeah.
Then you got your Dawn of the Dead zombies from the remake of Dawn of the Dead, and those bastards sprint.
Hmm.
So sprinting zombies, I know George A. Romero always hated them, saying it kind of it kind of sucks because like it's like you have no chance, you
Yeah.
know.
And I hate to interrupt you, but my daughter came up with the greatest point ever, like maybe 10 years ago. She said, if the zombies are decaying, how are they biting people? Why don't their teeth just fall out?
Yeah.
That would be the first thing to go, you would think is the teeth. And I was like, dude. I've never heard anyone propose that. I was like, that's so smart.
Not necessarily though, because skeletons still have their teeth in them.
Yeah, I know, but like even what we
So
talked about is like if you don't take care of your teeth and if they're gonna
no,
fall out. But I
fall
think
out.
that would
But
be enhanced like so much more. Like it would be more akin to fall out pretty fast if you're decaying flesh.
so that is actually a really good point to think about. It's like, well, wait a minute, why? How are they still biting and everything?
Hmm.
But so those three are the sprinting zombies and the different viruses that hit. So that's kind of creepy. Then you got like your Walking Dead zombies, which are just they get you in a horde. Essentially, like you, I'm pretty sure if there are Walking Dead zombies out there, we could probably take care of a pretty good amount of them by ourselves, just with a claw hammer or maybe like a suit of armor. you
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
just stand there and just club them in the head.
That's what I never understood about The Walking Dead. Like they could walk up to them and just crush their skull. I mean,
Yeah, how mushy they were. So
yeah, they shouldn't be capable of walking far distances. And I think that's kind of exaggerated too. If you've been to any part of America, if you drove around in it, there's vast, vast spaces with nothing there in every state. And for just zombies to be out in the middle of nowhere, like it's going to be impossible for them to walk that far and be everywhere. Like you're going to be somewhere in the secluded plains or mountains, and all of a sudden the zombies there. I thought that was ultra fantastic about the series and something I didn't.
yeah. So on top of that though, like what zombies do you think you'd be best to survive against? Probably the Walking
The
Dead ones,
Walking
I'd
Dead.
imagine,
Yeah,
just because
that
they're
was
so
my
easy to
number one
kill.
answer. Yeah, because it's like you watch the show and it's like you're really gonna die of zombies. I think the more, and that's the way that the comic book is served, is that the Walking Dead are really the humans, and they really have to survive themselves, and
Yeah,
that's the whole point of it. And like this, the zombies are just an element to the whole confusion with humans and them being violent towards themselves and who to trust
that's
and
that's what me and
just
my buddy were talking about.
the
Whereas
madness of it.
it's the zombies are basically a nuisance, you know,
Yeah.
something you have to deal with, but it's actually people you have to worry about. It's
Hmm.
the people that are the real threat because the survivors are, you run into bands of people like Negan who kill people the way they do, other ones who are cannibals,
Yeah.
desperate people, and that's what you run into. It kind of ties into our series last time with the whole entire survival of the end of the world type of thing.
So that's a good element to it. Like if it was served that way, is it, and it kind of is, but it's not. But they're dealing with the human at hand that they're trying to fight, and then all of a sudden there's a zombie out of nowhere. I think that would have been better served like doing it that way, like you're surprised and don't see it coming, rather than, oh, there's a horde of zombies, and what are we gonna do? We can't outpace them. There's just no way we could do that. But they do get outpaced. And
Yeah.
for the zombies that I would be afraid of, it would be Planet Terror, if you've seen that movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
So
remember Planet Terror.
they become zombies, but also they're conscious. So they're themselves, they just become evil. And that would be pretty frightening for
Yeah.
that to
There's a
experience that.
there's another set of zombies out there that's really terrifying too, and it's kind of like a what's creepy about it is it's kind of plausible, and it's the cordyceps zombies, the ones from
Yeah.
was it The Last of Us,
Yeah.
the fungal zombies, because there's a fungus out there that actually does that to ants and stuff and other bugs,
Hmm.
and fungus is an interesting thing. I mean, how half the planet or the majority of the planet is still fungus, it's just
Yeah.
different dying fungus,
Yeah.
so it's a living organism.
I was upset they didn't call that show Fungus Among Us.
Ah, that would have been good.
Yeah. I think that show would have been good, but they had to push the whole sexual identity shit. Is like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
the
who
DEI
cares?
bullshit sucks. I mean, it was well done. They did a decent job when they followed the game well.
Yeah.
So for a video game adaptation of a movie, it did well, or like a
Mhm.
series.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, the agenda is just it's beat to death, and they
it
just
is.
shove it down your throat like a chimney sweeps brush, and it's annoying.
Yeah,
So, like, to me, it's a big turnoff for movies now, just in general. It's like, this is going to be some
yeah.
woke bullshit I'm not going to watch.
I wouldn't say that it shoves it down our throat. I think it just pokes us in our eye. It's like, no, you need to watch this, and they keep on doing it. They keep on going.
Yeah.
This is what you need. This is what you need. They were
This is
poking
how it
our eyes
goes.
and shit, Gerald.
Yeah, that does make sense. That's a little bit better.
Another one was Evil Dead. I think those would be the worst zombies because they could fly and they could appear anywhere. They could possess even inanimate objects. That would be terrifying to encounter. I think the worst of the worst would be
Now,
Evil
would you
Dead.
consider those zombies or demons?
That's a good point. They
Because
might
if
have,
they're possessing things, they're more demon
yeah, I think it would be,
deadites.
yeah, because they call them deadites too. So I guess it could be a balance or a mix of
Yeah.
both. I don't know,
Now,
but that's a good point.
another one you got too is like when you're talking like not just movies but video games. So you talk about Dead Space.
Hmm.
Dead Space zombies are fucking terrifying. I think
Yeah,
they're called necromorphs,
yeah,
and the reason why they're terrifying is well, for one thing, they're super hyper violent, but you can't kill them like you normally would kill a zombie and go for the brain. Well, that doesn't work. You have to cut limbs off,
yeah.
on those things.
And furthermore, the Left 4 Dead series,
Yeah.
that would be pretty terrifying to experience that.
Well, the variants, that's what's really scary. Like, it's one
Mhm.
thing to have zombies. Okay, zombies are one thing, but you have variants. So you have like the screamers, you have the ones that explode
Yeah, the
and
boomers,
infect
the
others.
tank, the jockeys that go on your head,
Yeah.
the guys are I can't forget or remember what they're called, but they spit acid, the witch, the smoker that throws his guts at you and wraps you up.
Yeah.
Another good one would be Zombieland. Those
Yeah.
would be scary zombies to be around.
Yeah. Because those ones sprinted too. They were pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Hmm. And they started to have variants in the second movie too, where they had the
Yeah. They
Terminator.
were getting smart. They were using tools and stuff.
And
I
you're
do
saying
remember
that's
that.
what is happening in The Walking Dead too now, right?
Yeah. So I haven't caught any more of the Dixon one or
Mhm.
anything after, what was it? It's not Terminus, but the colony, the Commonwealth. So like the last season that was the Commonwealth when they got that together. That's when they started finding like variants. So like they were noticing them in the Commonwealth series, like the last season, where like a zombie was using a knife, like literally grabbing a knife and using it. Another one was turning doorknobs, like they knew how to turn the doorknobs, so they were starting to get smart. So they're starting to like, so those are the variants, and then you kind of notice it after you're watching Daryl Dixon. You watch that one, and you see the variants there. Where like, so these ones that are in the greenhouse were like their blood's like acid.
Mm.
So here you kill them, but they're like the alien. Your tools that you use to kill them are burning you, or if they grab you, when they grab you, like it burns your arm, it singes you and
So are
stuff.
they at a point where there's low bullets? Like they just ain't around anymore?
Yeah, you know what? In that one there is, but it's because it's in Europe, so it's in France. So
So there's none.
the only people who have guns down there is like the government and everything, and they're
Mhm.
using like blunderbusses and flintlocks and stuff.
Oh,
So they
really?
have like they do have rifles, but all of them are bolt action, like one shot bolt
Okay.
action rifles.
Hmm.
So it's kind of cool. It's really neat. And there are like semi-automatic weapons. Like a few people have like handguns and stuff.
Hmm.
Anybody who's paramilitary for sure has weapons and ammo and stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's kind of cool because it does kind of show how like Europe would deal with it. And that's kind of why I liked 28 Days Later because it kind of showed us, even Shaun of the Dead, in that aspect. It kind of shows you what another country would deal with. Like here, we're used to America where there's guns everywhere. You
Hmm.
know, we all have guns. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure a zombie apocalypse won't be that big of a deal here. It'd just be cleanup.
Yeah, it
You
would be.
know,
It would just go back to fearing for other people. That'd be
yeah. The zombies aren't going to be an issue, but other people are going to be an issue.
for sure.
But shout out to another podcast, Unsubscribed. I think you've watched them too, but they were talking about zombies and stuff too as well. And Nick, the fat electrician, was talking about it, saying how, yeah, if we had zombies nowadays, I guarantee you there'd be some fucking rights activists out there saying, well, the zombies are people too, and we should allow them to eat our brains.
Yeah,
They're just
that's
trying to survive.
yeah, they're the new minority. They need to be saved.
Yeah, we need to let them vote.
I hate the times that we're in now. It's so because it's exactly right. Something like that would happen.
Yeah,
God. So this villains and creeps. week 3, episode 1. Salute everybody.